Up and down. That was it. It was good.
Coach, what were your thoughts on how the spring game finished up?
Well, I thought we finished the spring really well. We're a better football team than we were at any point last spring or last fall. Bringing in 12 freshmen and transfers that came in January really helped our program out and helped our team out. So excited about where we are. Now we got to have a great summer.
A couple of those guys you brought in from Louisiana have pretty well split this year. Devin Bush is one of those guys who kind of makes a difference for you. How did you feel he played in the game? When he had that interception return for a touchdown?
Yeah, Devin and Greg Brooks as well. Both those guys come from incredible programs, well coached, and it was very evident when they got on campus this spring the impact that they're going to make. Obviously, the interception return for a touchdown that Devin made, but Greg had performed well all spring long as well. So excited about those guys, and obviously a heavy footprint for us in recruiting is here in Louisiana. Well, I think, number one, I spent some time just right across the border here in Elysian Fields, and I still have some incredible friends, and obviously the relationships that were made of my stops in the state of Texas have been huge for us. So we've got to get into that. We got to get into Texas. We got to get into Louisiana, and with Chief and Ron Cooper and their experience that they've had in this state, it's got to be a major part of our footprint.
Talk about Ben Hicks, a guy that you know all too well, bringing into the Razorback program.
Well, recruited Ben when he was coming out of high school, played for us for 3 years, owns all the passing records at SMU, and just a young man that understands exactly what we're after. He's been in this exact situation before as a quarterback in our system. He's been in a 2-10 team and knows what it takes to get out of it. And his experience, his ability just to come in and go to work and earn the respect of his teammates has been incredible. He's definitely added such great value to our program.
How important is it for you guys in year two to take that next step to at least get bowl eligible in year two?
Well, that's a goal of ours, is to continue to be the best Arkansas Razorback football team that we can be, and whatever that looks like at the end of the year, then we'll evaluate at that point. But I think year two is a big step for us. I think the culture was established in year one. We've got to teach our young men how to live the culture in year two, and just focus on getting better every day. And I believe that's we're on our way. We're recruiting at a very high level right now, and we got to continue to develop the young men we have.
Coach, you mentioned the fact that you have some Louisiana talent on your roster.
Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's the Hump Day edition, and yesterday, Demetrius, I thought about it. After we did yesterday's show, I mistakenly said Tuesday was Wednesday. Man, I apologize to our listeners. I know they thought I was crazy when I did that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know they did. I'm surprised no one called me out on it through our contact through Facebook Live. If you have any questions, I'm surprised nobody mentioned that. But yeah, I don't know where I was at. The week's just been going by so fast. So much is going on with us here at OTH. You've got things going on in the music world. Just like I said, a lot of big things going on down here in our business. I'm just excited. And then we opened up today with audio from head coach Chad Morris and his Louisiana Razorback Club trip. Talked about a lot of the freshmen, some of the Louisiana bred guys, Greg Brooks, Devin Bush. Those guys have been really, really instrumental in their freshman, debut in spring practice. Kind of looking forward for big things, and just, Louisiana, Demetrius, is going to be a real important part, and in particular that northern Louisiana into the New Orleans area. That's going to be real, real key for Coach Chad Morris going forward, don't you think? And if he can get, as he likes to call footprints, how advantageous can this be for the Razorbacks on the football field?
Yeah, I think it could be huge. I think they're, you mentioned Louisiana. I think that's where Scooter Harris comes in. I think if Scooter can go into this year and have a great season and end up getting at least drafted in that 1 through 5th round, I think they're really going to make a Louisiana recruiting bid. I think Scooter's one of the spokespersons for Chad Morris this year. I think he's really one of the key players that's going to be the face of the program, and I think he can really have a big impact on the way the younger generation receives the Razorbacks in the forthcoming years.
When you look at the success of Dijon Scooter Harris. I think Dijon has played a real big part, and also Jared Cornelius in his first 2 years on campus prior to after his redshirt year. I thought he was one that the Louisiana kids should look at. Santos Ramirez, even though had moments where he didn't play up to his potential, he was a Louisiana kid playing Andre Tolliver. It goes to Dwayne Eugene. And then, some guys, Briston Gidry's a guy that's playing extensively for this year on the Razorback football roster. So I think with a lot of Louisiana, as they like to be called, the Boot Hogs, coming and having so much success, Joe Fouché comes to mind. He's going to be a young man out of Louisiana that we're going to get a chance to see. Andrew Parker is another young man that redshirt last year that we'll get a chance to see. So, that boot is going to be something I think Arkansas really wants to, as Chad say, get its footprint in. And I believe with the connections of Chad Morris, his days at Legion Fields High School, which is close to that Louisiana border, and then having having John Chavis, the chief, and Coach Ron Cooper on staff, all those as evidence you can see in this class that they just signed, their presence in that state is going to be highly valued. And if I'm LSU and other schools, Demetrius, I'm pretty nervous, but we got a great show planned. Next up, former NBA Hall of Famer Sidney Moncrief and former Arkansas Razorback. He's going to be joining us here momentarily. Arkansas hired Coach Eric Musselman, and Sid knows quite a bit about coaching us. We'll get his takes, how he feels that this move, naming Coach Muss the head basketball coach at Arkansas, will be going forward. We'll talk about, just how, Coach Muss has that grad transfer legacy going on. He built a great tradition with the grad transfers at Nevada. Arkansas is in on quite a few. We'll find out what Sid thinks. Is that going to be the new wave of college basketball with a lot of kids getting in the portal and just not being happy where they initially start out, Demetrius? And then at 1:30, we're going to catch up with our good buddy. We hadn't talked a little baseball or softball in a while, so we thought we'd go out and catch up with our good buddy, contributing editor of the Whole Hog Sports, Steve Andrews. He's going to come on and give us the scuttlebutt on what's going on both diamonds. We'll do all that in a moment. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a moment.
Well, obviously, we got off to a really good start, and I thought, Connor Nolan came out in the first inning, got 3 outs on like 7 or 8 pitches. We came in and we had a leadoff triple, and it just kind of kept continuing from there. I thought our offense did a great job of sticking to the plan. We knew the velocity wasn't going to be what we'd been seeing. I mean, we've been seeing 92 to 97 all weekend, pretty much at Vanderbilt, and this was going to be a lot different. So we just really talked about staying through the middle and going the other way. And, Ezel got it going. Martin hit the ball through the middle. I think we take a walk. Fletcher, I think, kind of went through the middle. We just did a really good job, and we punched in 5 runs. And then, Connor came out and, probably another, 15 pitches. We get him out, and then we put together another pretty good inning. And the inning took a while, so we just decided to not send Connor back out. We were thinking maybe 3, and just decided 2's enough. He'd sat for a long time, and, we had 8-0 lead, and then we sent Treston, obviously, and he gave up some hits and a couple runs, but did a pretty good job. But just proud of the way the guys bounced back and played tonight. We had such an emotional weekend, an emotional game on Sunday. Monday's basically our day off from baseball. They have an option to lift if they want to. So you just don't know where the mind's going to be, but they responded really well and, took care of business, and now we can start focusing on Mississippi State, who we play in less than 48 hours. So it's a good win. He'll be available again by Saturday. I mean, it's going to be out of the pen, and we just wanted to get him out there and kind of get him untracked. And I thought he was good. He was anywhere from, I think, 88 to 91 on our equipment, and had a little sink on his fastball, threw a couple of pretty good breaking balls, and didn't really kind of nibble. He attacked, and that was good to see, pitching ahead. But that'll be his role going into this weekend.
Isaiah
Thursday, and we'll definitely leave Saturday, game 3, TBA. Not sure yet, 100% on Friday. Probably know tomorrow. Just got to check a few things. Yeah. I mean, right now that's who we'd be leaning to, but I just want to double check, make sure that he's good to go.
Almost everybody got a hit. I guess not everybody, but almost everybody. How good is that? It was kind of contagious, you think?
It was contagious, and I think it was contagious on Sunday. The guys didn't want to let each other down. They kept fighting, and I mean, we had 22 hits on Sunday, and another 15 or 16 today, and it's hard to do. And I think the offense is clicking a little bit now, and it's going to need to with the team that's rolling in here on Thursday. They're awful offensive. If you look at their numbers, it's the best in the SEC by 15, 20, 25, batting average points. So we have our hands full.
Hey everyone, it's Pat Jenkins here of OTH. That's right, On the Hill with Pat Jenkins, Sports Talk Radio. We come to you each and every day here, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2 on KDSJ 479. Be sure and tune in if you want to hear about SEC and the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's OTH. Holla. Welcome back. It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio as we come to you each and every day here on KDSJ 479, Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. Arkansas, just a little over a week ago, named their new head basketball coach. Eric Musselman came from Nevada to be the new head hog, and none other than we thought we want to get some talk from people that know a little bit about Eric in the profession. So we thought we'd catch up with former Arkansas Razorback, former Milwaukee, but Hall of Famer, I might add, City Moncrief, Super Sid. Welcome to the Hill, my man.
Hey, Pat. Yes, how are you today?
I'm doing very blessed. The weather's good. I woke up. God gave me a new day, so I really have nothing to complain about. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Talk to me, Sid, about Coach Musselman, Arkansas and Hunter Yurachek. Just a little over a week ago, named Eric Musselman as its new head hog of the Razorback basketball program. Could you tell the listeners and people that are tuning in here to OTH, what that means going forward and what you know about Coach Muss?
Well, first of all, I want to give honor, as I should, to Mike Anderson, who did a yeoman's job of getting the program back to where it should have been. And I think Coach Musselman will continue to build upon that. He's different because of his pro coaching experience. A lot of times when individuals have coached in the NBA, remember one basketball season in the NBA is like 3 college seasons.
Right, good point.
So you see a lot more as far as strategically. You probably have more insight as to things you can do offensively and also on the defensive end to improve your team, your what we call professional development of the players, getting them better. It's a little different level of intensity and focus in that area. Coach Musselman, I coached against him. I was an assistant with the Dallas Mavericks, and he was a head coach for the Golden State Warriors. And one thing I remembered was how innovative he was with his offensive and defensive schemes and how well prepared his teams were. They played extremely hard, and he used every advantage he could as it relates to coaching. He's probably what I would call a matchup type coach that can make adjustments. He seems to make very good adjustments on the bench, on the fly. A unique skill set, loves the game of basketball, as did all the coaches that coached at Arkansas. He loves the game of basketball.
In his initial press conference with us last Monday, Coach Muss, he likened his system to pace with space and said they play fast and shoot a lot of threes. Said when you look at this basketball team, you have 3 guys coming back that almost shot close to 40%, with that being Isaiah Joe, Desi Seals, and Mason Jones. 3 really great shooters. When you look at this team, you had a chance during the season as you were in town during the LSU game to take a look at this freshman core. How easy of a transition will it be, for Coach Muss if the right pieces in that core come back, and I'm talking about Reggie Chaney, Isaiah, Mason, Desi, some of those key pieces that you're going to have around your program for 2 to 3 years possibly.
Well, that's important, but he has to, and Coach Anderson, you have to keep upgrading the talent. You're in the SEC.
Right.
And you can't have talent deficiencies in that league any longer. I think as you take the core of the players they had last year and you continue to upgrade and get players better, stronger, bigger players, then he should have a competitive product, because it's tough with Tennessee and LSU. You can just keep going. You just keep naming teams that are very, very good teams in the SEC.
How would this team fare, with playing in space? You don't have a Daniel Gafford, and as you said, Coach Muss is quite innovative of an offensive coach, both, and a defensive coach. How do you think most of these guys, if they stay, based on what you were able to see from these young guys, how would they be able to fit into this Eric Musselman style of play?
Well, you should have to upgrade the talent. I'm going to keep saying that, because it's some there, but it's just not quite enough there. And I think the recruiting will be very important, and keeping the core players will be important. But it's all about talent. You get the talent, you certainly will have a coach that knows what to do with the talent. And I think that's the first step, is getting players that can play at the level that you would like for them to play. I always like to say, a very good college team will have 3 to 4 NBA prospects and at least 3 to 4 players that will play in the pros, not necessarily in the NBA.
Right.
But maybe 2 will play in the NBA and 3 will play overseas, or China or Australia or somewhere else. And when you get to that level, when you can consistently do that, then you have the program that will be able to go to a Final Four and do some exciting things for the university.
When you look at Coach Musselman, he's widely known to be a guy that's had great success during his time at Nevada with grad transfers. With his time in the NBA, having run a CBA team, been involved with multiple times where you had to build through the draft, either free agency or right out of college. How do you think, the way he approaches his recruiting, is it something that most coaches, nowadays are going to have to start getting used to? Is this the new wave of college basketball with so many grad transfers?
It's tough to say. It's very dicey being a college coach, because the players you recruit expect so much, and they're not as patient. The parents are not as patient. The people that handle them are not patient. People that influence them are not as patient, and they normally see a greater player than is present right at that point in time.
Right.
So there's always a tendency to say, okay, you're here now. If you just be patient with me, in 3 years we'll get you to this level, and you'll be very pleased. Now the trend, I should say trend, because I think when I played at Arkansas, we had players that would transfer.
Right.
But we didn't have droves of players, but we had players, with 3 players maybe, in a bad year that would go somewhere else because they felt they were not playing enough. I think when you recruit quality, not only in the player, but in the people around them, then the likelihood of that happening lessens, and that you're very transparent when you recruit, where you don't overhype what a player might do in that particular program. I think Coach Musselman certainly has the ability to do that, since he's watched players in college, he's watched players in the NBA. He will understand that it's a huge gap between a very, very good college player and an average NBA player. That's like the Grand Canyon. And it really is. And when you can get players to understand that, just keep getting better. Keep getting better, and you'll get to where you need to be. I think that's what you have to. That's what you're trying to overcome in this recruiting battle, is that mindset of players thinking they're better than what they are at this point in their career.
With so many programs now, we live in an age where coaches are expected to have an immediate return. on their investment when they're hired as to be the head coach of the program. Arkansas 8 years, one with Coach Anderson, but maybe not to the degree of boosters and fans. With this being such a rapid fan base, what do you think? Sid, knowing the fans, having played here as you do, what's the a realistic time frame for Coach Musselman to get his program going the way that he wants to before these very passionate people in the state of Arkansas start to grumble as they did after year 8?
Yeah. Well, fans are human, and they're going to grumble if you're not winning and going to the tournament on a consistent basis. I think what fans really like seeing is progress. They want to see players play hard. They want to see players develop over the course of from year 1 to year 2. And they realize that when you inherit a program, even though Mike had the program at a higher level than what people give him credit for,
right.
If you look back at his record for 8 years, it's a good record. He has good teams. They were competitive. But now you have someone taking over. Now they're trying to put their system in place. Their system might require different type players with different skill sets. They still need time to get those type players. Right. I think a realistic time for any college coach is the traditional 3 to 4 year cycle before the program is like to turn up where, we might win 28 games this year. We might win 30 games this year. We might win 27 games this year. That's the type of performance we're talking about, and that is not immediate. That takes time.
Well said, as always. Love having your information. Congratulations, as you were bestowed yet another honor for that great basketball career that I had the privilege of growing up watching. But as always, my man, thanks for taking time out here on the Hill.
All right, thank you, and go Hogs.
That was former Arkansas Razorback, former NBA Milwaukee Buck, former Dallas Maverick coach, former everything. He's the GOAT of Arkansas basketball when we talk about Arkansas basketball. Sidney Moncrief, we know him as Super Sid, but we're going to step away, get a little more audio, and then we're going to come back and talk baseball with our good buddy Steve Andrews of Northwest Arkansas Gazette. It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a bit.
Your writing matters. Whether it's your final essay of the semester.
Talk Radio. We come to you each and every day here, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2 on KDSJ 479. Be sure and tune in if you want to hear about SEC and the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's OTA. Holla.
The hitting just kind of seemed like it was, I guess it was one thing you didn't score, it just seemed like it was going on. It just seemed kind of contagious from one guy to the next.
Yeah, I mean, the game's filled with momentum, and I think after Sunday we really carried it into today.
Yeah, I would say it's contagious, especially it's a lot easier to hit with runners in scoring position. The pitchers aren't as aggressive. Sometimes they either make a mistake or don't throw it over the plate, and that makes hitting a lot easier for sure.
You guys had 32 hits and 37 hits in 2 games. And Dave said, you guys didn't have a leg down, which a lot of teams might have had after such a big win. Kind of what was the key to that? What do you think about 37 hits in 2 games?
I just think it's our approach we had for last Sunday's game and today. I mean, we took batting practice for the game, and our approach was just stay through the middle, right side, just gap to gap, basically. And I thought we did a great job last Sunday against Vandy, and especially bringing it back to today, especially after a big game like that.
Right. And not swinging at bad pitches and hitting the good ones has been very key. We're not swinging at pitches out of the zone, and we're taking advantage of the mistakes that the pitchers have been making.
Isaiah, just kind of what do you think it meant for Connor to kind of get back on the horse after the North batting the other day and have a couple
Yeah, I mean, that's big for Connor. Just seeing results. It's a huge part of the game. When you can see results, it's going to give you confidence. Connor's a great pitcher, and he's going to help us a lot down the road. And he's just going through some freshman pains right now. But he's going to be back on the weekend, helping us in the bullpen and everything. And I think it just gives him confidence moving forward in the season that he can do it. And you just see success right now.
Hey, I don't know if you you're batting .404 now. A pretty good sample size, about 100 at bats, I think. What do you think about that? What's been the key to that?
Just keeping the same approach and going back to taking advantage of mistakes, trying to.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our Hump Day edition of OTH. And before we get on to our next guest, I want to give a shout out to the ones that show love to us, our sponsors, as this would not be possible without you all. Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel, it's located at 735 South Shiloh Drive in Fayetteville. Also to Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall, and our newest sponsor, Corey Beck's Custom Painting. But we hadn't talked to this guy in a while. There's a lot of things going on with the team that he covers, the Arkansas women's softball program. So what better way to get a little update and bring in our good buddy and contributing writer for the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Steve Andrews. Steve, welcome to the Hill, my man.
How you doing, Pat? I appreciate being here. I'm a little intimidated following Sidney Moncrief, but I'm not. I don't think I'm going to try to fit into those shoes. So I guess I'll do the best I can.
Steve, talk to me. Arkansas women, it seemed over the last few weeks since we talked, I'm kind of getting used to, being the hunted and not the hunter. Yeah, so to speak. A lot of teams are starting to play, give Arkansas their best. Hadn't been, to the degree of maybe what they wanted early in conference season. Talk about those ladies and what's going on for the future, the remainder of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. They're not sneaking up on anybody anymore. I think they've been ranked all season long still,
right.
and they've had their ups and downs, a little bit of consistency issues, particularly in the field. I think they've got, unfortunately, about 65 errors this year, which isn't real good. Hitting wise, they overall they're doing well. They sometimes struggle to get timely hits when they need them, but they've won 6 in a row now. That has been against 6 non-conference opponents.
Right.
But still, I can remember a few years ago where they struggled against non-conference opponents, and at least now we're taking care of business there. And but you always hope that just you go along, and as the postseason approaches, that everything kind of clicks and falls into order. And last night was a good example. I mean, it wasn't the toughest opponent, but they still did what they had to do, and made easy work of it and came away with another win.
Talking about the struggles, kind of, Mary Half, a young lady that I consider to be one of the best on the hump anytime she takes the field, seems to be, this year has had a lot of struggles. I'm kind of wondering, is she injured, or is it just, teams have so much scouting on her, they're starting to really be patient, or it's just, the respect that she's gained?
Well, you look back, 2 years ago, Autumn Storms was a freshman, and she was pretty much lights out for that team. Right. And then last year, Autumn kind of struggled a little bit. Now this year, man, Autumn has bounced back big time. So I think, Mary, I don't know if you call it a sophomore slump. I think she has at times. But then again, there's been games, and much like against Furman the other day, or last weekend, where she came in the, I think, 4th inning, and they went 12 innings, but she tied at the all-time single-game strikeout record with 16.
Wow.
And, she's still got it in her. By the time she leaves, I'm expecting her to probably be the all-time probably wins leader, strikeout leader. She's probably going to own most pitching records at Arkansas when she leaves. But, yeah, it's been a tough year. And but if you know Mary, she's very even keel. She understands that. She doesn't, I don't think, gets down on herself too much. And it's a benefit. Her and Autumn, as opposite as they are. And Autumn's very outgoing, and Mary's a little more reserved, but they still work really well together. And I think they help each other out in a lot of situations. Even in an emotional standpoint, if one's struggling, the other one's there to pick them up. So I think they really work well together, and that's been a benefit. But it's just the ups and downs of, you can even go over, in baseball and look at Casey Martin's year this year, that he's down a little bit that second year after having such a great year. It's part of the college athletics and part of kids that are 18, 19 years old. it just try to continue to do what they're doing, and sometimes you just hit a slump.
What are some of the things that Coach Deifel and staff are looking forward to, observing going into the next conference series this weekend? And, is it just the youthful, inconsistencies as far as the errors go, just, kids growing and the maturation process?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, when I talk to Coach Deifel, she doesn't seem really concerned about it. Like it's like she's baffled. I think she understands it's just part of it. A lot of it is youth. I mean, you think, and that's a double-edged sword. I mean, you got youth, and that's happening. But then, you look heading into, not looking too far ahead, but next year we're losing maybe 2 really key seniors, and everybody else is coming back, including both of our pitchers.
Right.
And then you got Braxton Burnside, who's the transfer from Missouri, that's sitting out this year. I think they've got a lot of really high hopes for her. So I mean, yeah, it's that, and it's a growing process, but it's really you try to load up for the postseason, and you do the best you can. I think Dave Van Horn over on the baseball side is a wizard at this. He doesn't put a whole lot of emphasis before the postseason. I mean, you need to be. I mean, you want to be in the postseason, maybe host, but it's really when everything's on the line that you start throwing all your big guns. So I'm hoping that once we hit that in the SEC tournament, and then, if we can be fortunate enough to host another regional, and just kind of take advantage of those times. And hopefully, like I said, things fall into place by that point. But they do seem to be getting a little more consistent now as the season is moving on.
Talking with Steve Andrews, contributing writer for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and the NWA News Online. Steve, you said you had an article out. Who's the article on, if you can tell our listeners and viewers that are watching or listening to OTH, and where can they find your work?
Yeah, I'm doing a preview for the LSU series. LSU's coming into town for a 3-game series starting tomorrow night. They're ranked number 7. Arkansas is ranked number 19 this week, so it should be a good matchup. LSU is really, really good. They got a lot of great hitters. But I got a feature coming out on Sydney Parr, who's a junior for Arkansas now, and she's an Arkansas native out of North Little Rock. I tell you, it was a great interview. She's very charismatic. She wants to be a sports broadcaster when she, graduates, and I think she would do a great job. But, she's kind of this is a power hitting team. I think Arkansas's got 39 home runs this year. But she's still a slap hitter, kind of a smaller, faster type. And so she's a great complement to a lot of those big hitters at the top of the lineup. She, like I said, she brings a lot of speed. I mean, Arkansas doesn't steal a lot of bases, but she does lead the team with 5 stolen bases in 5 attempts. And she still has that kind of, I don't know if it's a dying art of slap hitting in softball, but just, she's really just been a spark at times this year when they've needed that spark that Courtney Dife was looking for, whether it's a bunt single or getting a hit. So I talked to her, and she can read about that in the morning's Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, and then come out and watch the game tomorrow night and see what she can do.
All right. Well, as always, man, we'll catch up. Thanks for all the updated news, and thanks for taking time out on the hill, my man.
All right, Pat. Thanks, buddy. Take care.
All right. That was Steve Andrews, a contributing writer for the Arkansas Dem-Gaz. Does a great job covering the ladies' softball program. I mean, if you want to know what's going on, you catch Steve and read all his work, and you'll know the up-to-the-minute goings-ons with that program. But we caught up with a former Arkansas signee, never made it to campus, went on to be a very, very outstanding Major League prospect and eventual Hall of Famer, Torrey Hunter. And here's what he had to say. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Hey everyone, it's Pat Jenkins here of OTH. That's right, On the Hill with Pat Jenkins, Sports Talk Radio. We come to you each and every day here, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2 on KDSJ 479. Be sure and tune in if you want to hear about SEC and the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's OTH. Holla.
Well, I bleed Arkansas, period, man. I'm a Razorback. I signed with these guys in 1993, and Norm DeBryan is one of the guys that encouraged me to come here, and my wife graduated from here, so Razorbacks is all up in me. And but I am from Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I helped those guys get raise money for a new stadium, and so yeah, I got ties on both sides, but it's Arkansas, and I'm here to represent the state of Arkansas.
To see this matchup, a lot of people didn't think it'd ever come. So what's it like to see?
Oh man, it's awesome, man. Van Horn is probably one of the guys. He and Carlos James probably spearheaded this thing and to make it happen. And so I appreciate Van Horn, Coach Van Horn, and Coach Carlos James for a great job of bringing the two together for the first time in history. So University of Arkansas get a chance. University of Pine Bluff. Get a chance to come up here, to the state-of-the-art stadium here at the Razorbacks and play against these guys and kind of showcase their talent.
You're as invested with UAPB as you are with helping them raise money and the ties to Arkansas. What's it going to be like to sit here and watch this game?
Man, it'll be fun. It's going to be fun. I get a chance to see both sides. Like I said, I'm rooting for both teams. Whoever wins. But at the same time, I better not take sides. I better straddle the fence a little bit.
With Arkansas's program, what's it like watching them kind of continue to build, and then UAPB trying to build something? UAPB is trying to build something down there in Pine Bluff, and this year, not going the way Carlos James wants it to go. A lot of injuries, a lot of young guys. But at the same time, just watching the Razorbacks, in the World Series last year, I was rooting for them, and unfortunately, it fell short. But just the fact that they got there in the SEC, the powerhouse of baseball, college baseball. So